Hey, Autumn Athletes, Larry Sorensen here. Today I am going to connect with Rick Barry and find out what makes him an Autumn Athlete that's not done yet. Before we get started, please remember if you enjoy our content, like, subscribe, ding that bell for notifications, and don't forget to visit automathletesndy.com for great apparel and NDY gear. All right, enough of the commercials. Let's get this started. Rick, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you kick us off with just a little introduction of yourself?
Well, Rick Barry, former basketball player, fortunate enough to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame, one of the NBA's top 50 players, one of the top players in the ABA, proud father of five boys and a daughter, and just trying to enjoy life as much as possible. Never heard the word million in my contract negotiations, so I'm still quite busy doing things. I'm probably busier now than I've ever been, involved in a lot of different businesses that are kind of exciting that I've been working on for years and will continue to do so. I'm not one of these people who can sit around and be idle. In fact, now I've moved from one court to another. Well, first of all, I moved from one court, the basketball court, to the golf world. Got to be a one handicap golfer and then got into long driving competition and won four world long driving competitions until they got rid of all of the old farts and they wouldn't let me compete anymore. So I had to find something else. And now I'm on the pickleball court. I've actually just got back from playing in the United States Senior National Championships and won the Triple Crown there in singles, mixed doubles, and men's doubles. I think I'm one of the top ranked players in the world right now at my age and skill. And I just have to compete. So that's kind of who I am.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk a lot more detail about a lot of those things. But first, I do want to go way back in time. So, we know you played basketball. Did you play any other sports in high school and college? Tell us kind of about that whole experience from a youngster up until you reached the NBA.
Well, actually, I was a much better baseball player. I was an all-state baseball player in high school. But I really got into basketball starting in my sophomore year in high school because I was playing JV baseball. I was batting 500, the best hitter on the team, pitcher, and played all positions. But I generally would play center field because Willie Mays is my hero. That's why I wore number 24. So, yeah, it was just one of those crazy things where I just got bored with it because baseball is too slow for me. I'm an A-type personality, so it makes it very difficult to be an A-type personality and play a sport like baseball. That's why I moved to pitching because at least in center field they can play a whole game and never see a ball. And then you sit down if you sit down for two innings if you guys aren't getting any hits and you only bat once every three innings. So that was not fast enough for me, and so that's why I focused on basketball, mainly because the JV coach wouldn't let me play when I didn't pitch. And I said, Coach, I'm the best hitter on the team. I can play any position. I don't want to catch, but I want to play. And so the next game, I start as a pitcher. I go 1 for 2 in the game, and next game I'm on the bench. And I said, I'm done. And so I went and started focusing, putting all my effort and time into basketball, which I guess turned out to be a pretty good move. So I probably should be sending that JV coach a lot of Christmas presents. And then the varsity coach asked me to play the next year as a junior. And I said, yeah, I'll come out for the team, but you're going to let me play if I don't pitch? And he said, well, you'll play. Don't worry about it. And so I made all state 2 years in a row, but I just got more into basketball and just was enjoying that a lot more because of just the activity in it. It's up and down the court, playing both ends of the court. It's very active, and so fortunately, it worked out quite well for me. If I had to do it over again, however, when I went to college, the baseball coach down there tried to get me to come out for the team, and I wish I had done it. I honestly do. I honestly think I could have been a really outstanding two-sport player, kind of like some of the other guys have done in different sports, in baseball and basketball and football. The Deion Sanders of the world, and I think Dave DeBusschere played some minor league baseball. But I think I could have done that, and I wish I had. So if there's any regret in sports that I have, that would be it, that I didn't try baseball.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I am now. And I got into pickleball and spent 2 years working at it, and said, well, I'm going to try to see if I can win a national championship and do that. And I've managed to do that. I've won U.S. Open championships, and I just started playing singles actually last year. I didn't know if my knee could hold up with no cartilage in it. And I kind of analyzed and I said, well, wait a second. At my age, how many rallies can you possibly have with some old guys out there running around? It's not like you're going to be running around having 8, 10, 12 hits, killing yourself. And so I tried a little bit of it at the end of 2023. And then in 2024, I went for the 4 major tournaments and played in I won all of them in singles. And almost won 11 of the 12 tournaments I played and got a silver in mixed doubles in the U.S. seniors. I was trying to get a record that would never be broken, only could be tied. It's still going to be hard to, I think, do what I did in that category. But yeah, I just love the competition.
So when did you start actually playing pickleball?
8 years ago,
Okay.
yeah. So I spent, I said, 2 years. I would travel. I hate getting up early, other than to catch a plane or go fly fishing. And I would get up at 6 in the morning and drive 2 hours to a place called the Villages here in Florida, where they have some amazing, great pickleball players, older guys who are Hall of Famers. And so my learning curve was uh, accelerated because of the fact that I was playing with and against such great players. And so, in order to not embarrass myself, I had to really get good quickly, and I was able to do that. And then a friend of mine who's a nice player, was only a 4-0 player at the time. You know, they go the same ranking, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5-0, and then the pros get even higher. He invited me to play in a 50 plus tournament, 50-year-olds. So I'm playing against guys 20 something years old younger than I was. And we wound up winning the tournament. And so then I got lucky that year, and it's very hard to get into the U.S. Open because so many people want to play in it, and you have to qualify. And all of a sudden, my friends up at the Villages had some people call me because they needed partners, because their partners, for one reason or another, had to back out. And so I was able to get in and play in mixed doubles and men's doubles, and had partners who were really good and won gold medals in both of them. So that was the start of my playing in the major tournaments and winning a whole bunch of gold medals.
So now, do you do any cross training at your, with pickleball, or you just pretty much play? Are you still, as a ex-professional athlete, are you in the gym? Are you running? Are you
No,
doing all
I
kinds
work
of stuff?
out.
Or
I'm not I hated working out, but I knew it was important to do it. I mean, you run 5, 6, 7 miles in a basketball game, but just to go out and go running, was not my favorite thing to do. And then, to be honest, back in my day, they did nothing for you. I have so many people who come up to me nowadays and they say, Rick, you guys would have a hard time playing with these guys today. And I said, wait a second, you have to be joking, right? I mean, come on. I said, do you realize what they did for me when I played in college and the pros? Nothing. I'm talking about zero. Nothing. We didn't have a strength coach, an agility coach, a dietitian. You were on your own. You show up and be ready to play, and that was it. And so, yeah, I would love to be playing today, not only for the money that I'd be making, but also because I'd be faster, quicker, stronger, more endurance, jump high. It'd be crazy how much better I would be. And so I just, whatever I did on my own, and it worked out.
so when you did retire, what age did you retire from the NBA?
I was 36.
And then what did you do kind of in between? I know you mentioned something about fishing. Did you do any other sporting activities, or
Well, I was a
between
golfer.
that time and pickleball?
I golfed. I played slow pitch softball. I played, I did a bunch of stuff. Got into riding bikes, and um, until I had a bad bicycle accident. I was actually in a wheelchair for 3 months and fractured my pelvis in 6 places. It's kind of miraculous that I can do the things that I can do now. Thank God for Dr. Patel, the surgeon that I had. He said, Rick, you're really lucky. I said, why is that? He said, because if you had the bones, this is when I was in my 70s. He said, if you had the bones of a man your age, you'd be in a wheelchair the rest of your life, because I never could have operated on you. I have more pins and rods and screws than me. It's really crazy. This guy did an amazing job. I joked with him. I said, well, who said they couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again? And he did. Thank God. I thank God every night for Dr. Patel and the great job he did putting me back together. So I was very, very fortunate.
And you had mentioned previous to me about some knee surgery. So how many knee surgeries did you have, and when did you have those throughout your life?
Oh, I got my first one when I went to the ABA, and they were fortunately only cartilage. But even back in those days, you had to get cut open. They didn't have arthroscopic surgery back in those days. Nowadays, you have a cartilage tear, and the guys are back playing in 5, 7 days, and not a big deal. But back then, it was a big deal, and so I had to get the old zippers done and had both of them replaced in my left knee, and then I had a couple of clean outs after that. And the sad part is that after I got my last clean out, It was after I finished playing my second year with the Rockets, and I couldn't believe how good I felt. It's the best I felt in 10 years. I could actually bend my knee. It was like being reborn, you know, a reborn Christian. I was a reborn athlete. I couldn't believe how good I felt. And I never got to play again because the NBA in 1980, to save money, they cut the rosters from 12 players to 11. Otherwise, I would have done what so many other players did, really outstanding, great players, and go and played with the Boston Celtics. I was going to go play. I would have played with Bird and McHale and those guys. We would have been so good, it would have been crazy because I went on a tour and we went overseas and played a bunch of retired guys, played over in Asia, and I played great. I just felt so good, but never played competitively again.
You mentioned the ABA, and of course, you know, some of my audience is a little bit younger. A lot of them are older, more my age to your age. But uh, you know, what was the ABA versus the NBA, and what was that kind of? How long were you in the NBA before you transitioned into the NBA?
Well, I was 2 years in the NBA, and then the league came along, and I had to sit out. I sat out. I changed everything, and I was Kurt Flood before Kurt Flood, and challenged the reserve clause, opened up the opportunity for players to move and not be stuck in a contract. It was like a contract for life. Um, you know, I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because I had 2 great years. I mean, it's rare that a rookie ever makes first team All Pro. I made first team All Pro as a rookie. I was MVP of the All Star game in my second year, led the league in scoring. I did a lot of really, great things early in my career. And then I sat out a year in the prime of my life. I mean, that's the one thing that the second thing if I could do something over again and not two sports in college, but in the pros, I would never have left the NBA. I would have stayed where I could say, if I knew that I could have the wife that I have now, the amazing son that she gave me, and the friends that I have, and kind of be where I am right now. But I'm a big Star Trek guy, and so I would screwed up the space time continuum. So everything in life happens for a reason, and it worked out great for me to be able to have the life that I have when I did that. But if I had stayed and played in the NBA that year there, God only knows, what might have been able to do. It would have been one of the best years of my life after having an incredible year the year before that and coming within two pick and roll plays of winning the championship against the great 76er team. So, but I really don't live in the past. I try to tell people, but I found out that most people don't have the ability to do what I call compartmentalization.
Yeah.
Is that if something happens in your life that makes you sad or is, I said, cry and get over it and move on because you can't change what's happened. I mean, why would you waste energy and emotion over something that you can't change?
No.
If it's happened, react to it and then move on with your life. But then you make everybody else miserable about you because you're feeling sorry for yourself. And so I have the ability to be able to do that because people ask, you miss playing? And I go, no. And they look strangely at me. I said, no, but the reason is I don't think about it.
Yeah.
If I were to think about the fact that I'm never ever again going to be able to do what I love to do so much, I could get really very sad. And why would I want to make myself sad? Why? I don't want to do that. If I start thinking about it, I can just go watch a video and then watch the copy of some of the games where I played and everything, and just kind of relive them there, and then stick it on the back burner again and get on with my life.
You mentioned something about your son. You have your kids are very successful, what
Yeah,
they do,
amazing.
and
I
even your
mean,
wife. Tell us a little about the
oh God.
athleticism throughout the family.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a family in the world in any sport that has the pedigree that we have. To have one of the top players in a sport have five sons all get Division I college scholarships, and all of them play professionally. Three in the NBA. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And the four of my five boys, their grandfather was my first wife's. He was one of the top pro players in the NBA, so he's got great bloodlines on both sides of the family there. And my son Canyon, who just played in the Olympics in 3x3 and should have been in the NBA, but that's a whole other story I don't need to get into. And he had a great career. As they say, he's an Olympian, and his mother, my wife Lynn, the two of them are really proud of this. The two of them are the only in the history of NCAA basketball to have a mother be first team academic All-America player and have a son be first team academic All-America. In fact, my son in his last year in college was the academic All-America player of the year. and so that was pretty special. And so he gets it from both sides of the family as well, and he's a great athlete also.
You mentioned earlier about in your 70s, the doc said your bones were good and all that stuff. What do you do for diet and nutrition? Maybe, what have you done maybe for the last, I don't know, couple decades, or do you do anything different now at 81 years old to keep yourself fit?
I mean, everybody worry about all this diet and that diet and this diet. It's a very simple thing. If your waist gets tight, if your belt starts getting tight, your pants get tight, eat less, work out more until you lose weight. Don't ever get the next size pant. That's the worst possible thing you could do. And I try to eat relatively healthy, but I'll never give up a good burger. I don't eat a huge amount of meat. I still do eat meat. I have a lot of salads and put some chicken in it at times and nice dressing. And I'm not big into eating a lot of super bad food, but I'm also not going to deprive myself of enjoying life. I mean, try to not have regular fries. If I'm going to have them, I try to have sweet potato fries, a little bit better on the glycemic index. And I take a lot of supplements, a lot of stuff to stay healthy, that are really good. I take a thing called Y Power, which is a pretty amazing drink I take every morning. Yeah, I just try to do everything, healthy wise, read about stuff and try to keep up on it. I'm involved in a company called Be Rare, which is pretty amazing stuff that we do to keep you young and healthy. And just take care of yourself and go for your checkups all the time. I mean, don't wait until you get sick before you go in to see the doctor. You make sure you go in at least once a year and get a thorough examination to see if you have anything that could be a problem for you. But to wait until the problem actually gets worse or you don't even know about it until something's happening that you feel really bad, that's not a good idea. The idea is to be proactive. And so that's what I am, very proactive when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So, you're competing in these pickleball tournaments, and obviously you're playing in multiple divisions. So I'm assuming most of the tournaments you're playing 2, 3 days in a row, and then obviously your normal play and regimen. So, how do you approach rest and recovery? You said you take some supplements and things like that dietarily, but are you a ice bath guy? Just rely on sleep? How do you do that?
I'm a sleeper. I've always been a great sleeper. In fact, when I was younger, my mother always used to couldn't believe it that she'd have her girlfriends at little club meetings and so if it's over at our house, it might be a Friday night, and I'd come in and say goodnight to all the ladies, and they said, "It's Friday night. He's going to bed." He said, "Oh yeah, Ricky, he likes to get his sleep." I mean, I'd sleep 10, 12 hours. So, and I think that's one of the reasons that you grow a little bit when you're sleeping. But yeah, I'm even to this day, I'm still an 8 hour guy, if at all possible. Um, and I sleep, I'll lift weights, I'll do my bike riding, I'll play my pickleball and burn the calories, get a good workout in. I just try to take care of myself and I'm blessed. I mean, you don't have control over everything in life, and so I thank God every day for the health that He's bestowed upon me, and along with it, you still want to try to take care of yourself as much as possible.
So, what's on the horizon for you? Is it just are you just going to keep pounding on the pickleball? Are there any other athletic endeavors you're looking at, in your 80s that you want to tackle?
If I found something that was really cool, I would probably try to do it. But pickleball is great. I mean, I fastest growing sport in the world right now, and it's not going away anytime soon. In fact, I think it's going to be in the Olympics pretty quickly. In fact, my TV, when my big screen TV goes on, it goes on to the pickleball channel so I can watch and see what's going on. I've had the good fortune of playing with and meeting and doing some exhibitions with people like Tyson McGuffin, and I used to do that in tennis with some of the great tennis players when I was playing a lot of. I used to play a lot of tennis until it got too hard on my body, and I played with Connors and McEnroe and against Pete Sampras, and I mean, just a lot of the great players, and same with the women, Billie Jean King, Chrissy Everett, and just go on and on with the ones I had the good fortune of actually being on the court with and having some fun doing that. And now I try to do that with pickleball. I played with Ignatovic and I played with Parento, and I've met Anna Lee Waters, which what she's doing is remarkable in pickleball. I mean, to have someone who was 15 years old to be the best women's pickleball player in the world is still be a dominant force right now, winning all these triple crowns. She's just, in fact, when I met her, I said, Anna Lee, I hope you understand you're doing something that will never be done again. She says, "What do you mean?" She said, "There's not a chance in the world that a 15-year-old will ever be the best pickleball player in the world again. This is never going to happen. There's just too many people coming in, former tennis players. People are getting it in when they're younger. I don't think a 15-year-old will ever get to be at the level to be able to be as dominant as she's been. And she's the female version, I guess, of Ben Johns. But even Ben is being challenged now by a lot of players coming in. So it's just a really fun sport. I love playing it. And I'm immersed in it. I'm in a company called Pickle Zone that we're doing some pretty cool things that more people will be hearing about soon. I do stuff with Titan Pickleball. I used to be with some of the other paddle companies, but I'm with Titan Pickleball Paddles. Ken Tran, who used to be the one of the owners of Takea, who had all of those great jugs that are all the insulated jugs and all. They didn't want to get into the paddle area, so he sold out and started that up. And I'm getting involved and doing stuff with marketing. In fact, I'm pickle. Tied pickleball and myself. I'm hosting a cruise April 15th, April 10th to the 15th on Royal Caribbean. In fact, if people are interested, they go to Daily Dailey dash travels dailytravels.com, and they tell you all about that 5-day trip where we actually play pickleball on the Royal Caribbean cruise, the Quantum of the Seas. They have an indoor temperature controlled pickleball courts to play when you're cruising. So you just have to hope that you don't have rough seas, because I can't imagine trying to play if there's rough seas, but it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then we spend a couple of days in Cabo and go play at the Cabo San Lucas Pickleball Club. And so that's a fun trip I'm looking forward to doing, and I'll be hosting some of those as well. So yeah, I keep myself busy without question, and occasionally do some things for the Warriors and for the NBA and some of the other businesses that I'm involved with that are very, very exciting. I'm getting involved in the AI world as well. So yeah, life is interesting. You always have to have things that you really care about. I mean, especially to have a passion for. I mean, it's nice to have a passion. If you have a passion and you're really good at it, then and that provides an income for you, that's not working for a living. That's what I tell kids all the time. Find something you have a love and a passion for. Learn as much about it as you possibly can, and then you're going to get paid to do what you love to do. That's not working for a living. That's you don't want to work. You don't be somebody. Oh, I got to go to work today. I said, look at what I got up. I got to go play basketball today, and somebody's paying me. I get paid to do what I love to do. That's not a job.
You mentioned something about fishing. What kind of fishing do you do? Are you an
That's
avid fisherman? Tell us about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, I love the fishing because here's the thing. Fishing, when you think fishing, no, this is not where you go and you have a rod in your hand, or as they call a pole, and but if you're a fisherman, it's a rod, and a pole and a line, and you just throw it in the water and you sit there and pray that a fish happens to swim by and wants to bite it. No, I do fly fishing. Fly fishing is a skill and an art form. And I spent a lot of time learning how to do that. It's no coincidence that the better I got with my casting, the more fish I was hooking into. And every strike is like an adrenaline rush for me. And so I got immersed into doing that, and it was going up to Alaska, which is incredible how beautiful it is. It truly is the last frontier. And then I've gotten into some more fun stuff with Rob Anderson. He has a place called Bucket List Fly Fishing, and I've gone with him a number of times. In fact, I'm going next month now back down to Brazil to the Amazon jungle to go fishing for peacock bass. And so I like to do fishing like that. Clifford Ray, my old teammate from the Warriors, the starting center, he and I are great friends, and we love to fish together. We generally go on at least one good fishing trip every year. And so I just love it. It's 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 an art form. It really is. It's not this luck. Your luck improves with your skill when it comes to fishing. And then I only go with guides. I don't want to tie flies. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I want to go with a guide or a good captain to take me where I want to go. I prefer freshwater fishing as opposed to saltwater. I've done some saltwater stuff, but I'm not real big. I got seasick once out in the ocean in Alaska, and I don't ever want to get seasick again. It's a horrible experience, trust me. So I kind of stick to the freshwater stuff and the lakes, and then I prefer rivers and streams. So I really enjoy that a lot. So looking forward to my trip to Brazil again, and then I want to go another place. I want to go to Argentina, or a place where they've got not the peacock bass on my bucket list, and all. I want to catch golden dorado, which is another really cool fish to catch. So I've got my bucket list of places I want to go to fish.
So you played basketball, fished, golf, pickleball. Is there anything else, sporting or any other activities that you've done well, mastered?
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to play. I used to play volleyball. When I was in college, if they could have changed football, they tried to get me to come out for the Miami Dolphins. For I could catch. I used to run pass patterns for George Myra when I was run out. I had great hands. I could catch the ball. I was fast and quick, but I said, if you can turn it into two-hand touch, I can play, but I'm not doing that tackle and stuff. I mean, that's a little bit too physical. I was a skinny guy, but I think I could have been a hell of a wide receiver because I was not only tall, because usually guys my size get big and bulked up and they play tight end. But I would have been, like Kelsey and something like that. But I mean, I was quicker than most of our guards, quick and fast, which is a great combination to have, especially when you're tall. And so, as a football player, as a wide receiver, I could have been really dangerous at my size. But that was not a sport for me. I learned at a very early age that if one of the objects of the sport was to hit the opponent, I would probably pass on that one.
Now
Even
you
though
mentioned,
basketball is physical. It's not like it's not physical.
yeah,
Basketball is a lot of physicality in a
yeah.
basketball game, but you're not out there trying to hit somebody.
So you mentioned a little bit about volleyball. That's a sport that I've played my whole life. So what
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
get a
I'm
chance to just
college.
play at
Yeah,
recreation games?
intramural teams.
Yeah.
I was. Here's the thing. I didn't have the jumping ability. My brother could jump out of the gym at 6'3", get his elbows to the rim. My son, for the longest time. In fact, no real NBA player has ever won. A white guy ever won the dunk contest until my son came along, and then until the little kid came along from the G League and winning it, who was pretty exciting. He could jump out of the gym. My son Scooter could jump really, really well. My son Canyon is a standing 40-inch vertical. They'd kind of missed me. I wasn't a great leaper. So, I mean, I don't think I would have been a great volleyball player because I didn't have the jumping that is necessary to be a great spiker. But I probably could have gotten it with the training they have nowadays. I'm sure I probably could have improved my vertical quite a bit. But my athleticism is the thing. I have great eye-hand coordination. I rarely ever struck out in baseball. What I did find out this year, I went down and some guys reached out to me from Australia, award-winning guys who decided to join together in advertising world and start their own ad agency. And they said, "Do you mind? We want to ask you if we can call it the Rick Barry Ad Agency." I said, "Okay, is this a prank? What are you guys screwing around with me here?" They were for real. And I went down and I met them, and there's the Rick Barry Ad Agency down there. The guys are great, Alex and you, and got to meet their families and had a great time. And they took me to a cricket game, and I had seen cricket all the time. I had, what the hell is that? What is this? This is so strange. Because a lot of times you see they have these games where they play for 4 days or something, but they actually have a cricket league where it's one game they play, and I learned so much about it, and I enjoyed myself. And I realized that if I was an Australian and had been grown up there, I would have been a hell of a cricket player because batting in cricket, if you have good eye-hand coordination and you're making contact all the time, man, you can do damage out there. I think I could have been a really good cricket player. So now I have a new respect for cricket.
Maybe that's something on the horizon. When you turn 90, you could go and
Well, that's only if they have the super age. Like in golf, they got the guys play, and then they got the senior tour and then the super seniors or whatever. So my problem is I'm at the age right now, or it's the same in pickleball. Honestly, at my age, there's only one guy who now just turned 80 this year, named Bob Costanza, a really good guy that I've played against. That my goal is to beat him in a tournament sometime because he's really good. And I had him 7-4 in one game, and then he came back and beat me. So I just have to improve my game because my goal is to try to beat Bob in a tournament sometime. And I almost beat Jim Hackenberg, who's younger than I am, who's in his 70s, still late 70s. He was a Hall of Fame pickleball player, great guy, great player. He and his wife were great mixed doubles team. And I lost 15-13 to him. So that was kind of cool to come that close to almost beating Jim. But I like challenges in life. I don't mind losing if I play well and somebody beats me. I have great respect for the person that beats me. But I have a difficult time. I get very upset with myself when I don't play well and lose.
yeah, there's a difference between getting beat and losing yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
big
sure.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I always ask folks about, motivation and drive. And so I'd kind of like to hear, your thoughts on that. And in this case, going back to, because obviously the NBA, it's very unique. It's a very small percentage of people ever get to play at that level and certainly be a Hall of Famer and all that stuff. So talk to me a little bit about, your drive, your motivation from when you were younger and then now with pickleball and just really everything in life. It sounds like you've got it. So tell me about it.
Well, it's my father who's instilled that in me. My father was a perfectionist. My father was a semi-pro player and coach and really outstanding athlete himself. He was a great fast softball pitcher and a really good basketball player and a successful coach. And so he laid the foundation for me, and I kind of got that from him. but to the point of where it can be a detriment to you, because I would get so upset with myself when I played making a mistake, and my father, to teach me, would take me out of the game. He said, "Hey, you can be upset with yourself, but you can't allow it to impact the way you're playing. You can't let it become a negative." And so he taught me about that. I've always been very hard on myself. I got better as I got a little older to be a little more forgiving, but I always strive to play the perfect game and whatever it is that I'm doing, realizing that it's unrealistic to think you're going to play the perfect game, because that's never going to happen. And so um, I'm never satisfied. I mean, I think when you get to the point, I talk to businesses all the time. When you get to the point with what you're doing in life that you're really satisfied with what you've done, that's not a good thing, because that's going to be the start of your downward spiral. You're going to go downhill from there. You should never be satisfied with what you do. You should always be looking at ways to improve and get better, which is what I always did. I mean, at the end of the season, what was I not doing as well this season? What areas could I get better at? And those are the areas that I would spend more time and put more effort into trying to improve myself. I mean, and even with my free throw shooting, I was the best free throw shooter. I changed my technique, because that's why I respected what I saw Tiger Woods, greatest golfer in the world, changed his swing. Why? To get better. He saw something that helped make it get better. So I respected that tremendously. I was the best free throw shooter, and I changed my technique and got even better and set all kinds of records. And I just wish that I had been smart enough to make the change earlier in my career, because I would have put up numbers that would have been crazy. And it's the only part of the game that you can be selfish and help your team. And yet, and I do this in every interview I do now, and I will to the day I die. I'm waiting for an owner, a general manager, or a coach who has enough guts to tell his player, who is an employee. Basketball players are employees. They are employed by a professional team to what? To play basketball for them. Okay? Where in the world can you be an employee and your boss says, "Look, the way you're doing something here is not working for us. You have to do this." And they tell the boss, "No, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that," and still have their job. And in basketball, somebody to say, "Hey, your free throws are killing us. You have to learn how to shoot underhanded free throws. You have to shoot the way it's proven scientifically to be the best way to shoot, because you're killing our team." And have enough guts to tell them to do it. And if not, fine them tremendously. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever in the scheme of things in the real world that an employee could tell his employee to shove it and still have his job.
Speaking of that, again, for folks that maybe don't know, you were very famous for the underhand free throw. What's the difference? Why did that work? And how did you change into that? And why did it work so
Well,
well?
my father did it. My father shot that way. And back in those days, they shot two hands overhand or two hands underhand. And my dad was good at it. He said, "Son, I think you can be better." I was only like mid 70s. He said, "You should be at least 80%. And I think you can be better trying it." And I said, "I don't want to do that." Back then, the girls shot that way. And I said, "I can't do that. They're going to make fun of me." And I remember like his words were yesterday: "Son, they can't make fun of you if you're making them." And I remember I honestly only did it to get him off my back, because he was driving me nuts. And so I remember it was either before my junior or senior year in high school, and I was on the road in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. I remember exactly where I was, but not the actual year. And I'm shooting my free throws the second half, and I shoot, and this guy from the stands yelled, "Hey, Barry, you big sissy," shooting like that. And I heard perfectly clear the guy next to him, "What are you making fun of him for? He doesn't miss." And so from that point on, I was cool, never even worried about it again. And, very proud of what I had done. I was always mad at myself that I didn't set a record of at least 100 consecutive shots made in competition. I had the record at like 60 for a long, long time, and then it was broken by a number of people. And I had the record for the highest percentage one season at 94.7. And then Calvin Murphy, my teammate, beat me the year after I retired. And so I respected that a lot. And I told Calvin, I says, "Calvin, as long as I'm playing, you're never going to be better than I am at the free throw line." I tried to get into his head a little bit. But Calvin's a great shooter and a great free throw shooter as well. But technically, it's proven, scientifically, it's proven to be the most efficient way to shoot free throws. So why in the world don't teams require more guys to do it? If a guy's shooting 40, 50, 60%, even 70%, it makes no sense. You're not a good free throw shooter if you're not shooting at least 80%. I mean, come on. That's 4 out of every 5. Same distance, same size ball every single time. No one's trying to prevent you from doing it. What excuse do you have not to be proficient at it, at least at 80%?
I'm going to transition once and ask this question of you again, because you've had a lot of accomplishments and unique accomplishments. In your mind, what stands out as maybe the top two or three moments in athletics, achievements in athletics, whatever that might be. What do you think about? Say, that was pretty good.
Well, our team winning the championship. In fact, the documentary's coming out. Hopefully, I don't know. I guess now it's not going to show until next year because I haven't heard anything about a premiere coming out this year, which would have been 50 years ago that we did it. This kind of mind-numbing to me that it's taken 50 years for us a documentary to be done about the biggest upset in the history of major sports in the United States and the four major sports, and nothing's been done about it until now, and it still hasn't come out yet, but it's ready to come out. That's just inconceivable to me. But better late than never, as they say. But I just feel badly because half of my teammates from that team are no longer with us, and so they miss out on the opportunity to have been recognized because it was a team accomplishment, and everybody deserves credit for us accomplishing what we accomplished. So that's at the top of the list because you don't play for individual honors; you play to win a championship. That's why you play professional sports. You're playing to win. I got a lot of individual awards and a lot of things I've done individually, but it's kind of like I always equate it to let's take a birthday cake. So you have candles, you have icing, you got cherry, you get all kinds of beautiful adornments, right? That you can put on a cake. Put all of those things on a cake with no cake. It could look like a big mess sitting on a plate, right? You need the cake. And there's a lot of guys that got the cake, but they don't have all the other fancy stuff, the icing and the cherries and the candles and all the other good stuff. I'm fortunate enough that I've got both. And so that's the beauty of it. So that's why it was important to me. I was named the top 50 player, got a ring for that, Hall of Fame, a ring for that. And the ring that's most meaningful to me is my championship ring because that's why I played. I played to be a champion. I didn't play for individual honors. Those are a bonus. I respect them. I appreciate them. It's awesome that I have those things. But if I could only have one and not the others, I want the championship.
And what team were you playing for? What team did you play against? And what year
Well, I
was that?
played. Well, I played. Well, we won the championship in the ABA. It was the Oakland Oaks, and unfortunately for me, I got hurt and didn't get to play in the finals, which is disappointing to say the least. And then it was with the Warriors in 1975, greatest upset in the history of the NBA for sure, and I think all the other major sports. I defy anybody. It's like come up and tell me another championship by a team that was so ill thought of, that was not even supposed to be a playoff team, that winds up getting to the finals. And in the finals, they making the statement, it's the biggest mismatch in the history of the NBA finals. That's what they said. It's going to be a sweep. Well, they got the sweep part right. They just got the wrong team. So there's nothing as dramatic as what we accomplished, and people start throwing things out there like the Packers, when the Jets beat the Packers. I mean, no, the Jets were picked to be one of the best teams in the AFL. I mean, there isn't anything comparable. The Miracle Mets, no, no. Our team was not supposed to be anything at all. It was supposed to be a joke that year. And so that's what made it that much more rewarding and satisfying for us. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing the documentary. I heard some good things by some people who were involved with it. And so I just hope that they give the credit and recognition to my teammates for what we as a team were able to accomplish.
We're getting near the end here, but one little transition back into being an autumn athlete. And, right now, obviously, you're doing very well in all different avenues of life. So, if you could kind of bottle your secret sauce to your health and fitness and just lifestyle, what would the ingredients to that recipe be?
Well, I think first of all is just to make sure that you have a regimen or a routine to exercise, to be eating reasonably healthy, to get your checkups on a regular basis, to just take care of yourself and take pride in what you do to keep yourself healthy, and then pray that you know God's going to not bring anything, any disease or something. I mean, who has control over that? You can't control that. You just got to be blessed that the good Lord decided to allow you to be a person who doesn't get cancer or doesn't get any other kind of a life-threatening disease. So I thank God every night for that. But I still don't just sit around and do other stupid things that could lend itself to some of those things happening to you.
Yeah.
and just try to take care of yourself as well as you possibly can. As I say, the best thing in the world is you got to keep your weight down for sure. And then the other stuff you don't have control over, but your weight you have control over, right? Don't ever get that next size pants. Go out, burn some calories. But the one thing I found out, which I had some fun with my wife, is a couple of years ago when I played in the Huntsman World Senior Games. They do a lot of physical testing and things, carotid artery, all kinds of things. They had this new machine, and I said, "Oh, Rick, you got to do this." So I did it. I said, "Okay, so what is this telling me?" It says, "Well, this measures your metabolism." I said, "Okay, so what did it show?" It said, "You could be sitting in front of your big screen television watching TV, and you'll burn 2,100 calories a day. My metabolism is exceptionally high." So my wife go home and say, "Honey, you got to get up and exercise." I said, "Honey, I'm burning 2,100 calories. Let me be." I have a very high metabolism, obviously, and so I think that helps to keep your weight at a point. But I just don't. I will never allow. I did that one time, and I got in the next size weight, and I said, "What are you doing, you idiot?" And I immediately stopped eating as much, worked out, got back to my. See, I was a 36 in college. I'm probably like a 37 and a 37, 37 and a half something waist right now, which is pretty darn good. I mean, so. I will never get the next size. I told my wife, "Honey, you'll never have to worry about me getting fat because I'll starve before I get fat."
And how tall are you, Rick?
Well, I've actually shrunk 3 inches, which is really hard to believe. I was 6'7" and a half on my bare feet, and I'm 6'4" and a half now, which is really weird. I asked the doctors, "Well, you get compressed, you do stuff," but I'm mostly the turtle optimist. So I said, "Well, okay, I now can get pants a lot easier because I don't have to worry about the length. This is good. And if I travel business class overseas, I can actually fit in a lay down seat." So you got to look at the bright side of things.
Very
And one
good.
other thing, I also don't have to worry about hitting my head on a door jamb if they didn't build it at the 8 limit that
Yeah,
they're supposed to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you mentioned a bunch of stuff about, you've got all these activities. I want to just give you a minute if you want to tell us about, some of these businesses, your social media, where can we find you? What are we looking for?
Yeah. Well, I gave
Fill
the
us
thing,
in.
if somebody's up for the pickleball cruise, daily, Dailey dash travels.com for if you want to go on the pickleball cruise in April. Medicilleaf, Medicilleaf.com. Medicilleaf.com. I'm involved with the cannabinoid company, has some incredible products. And the code is RB24, small RB24. You get a code and discount on any of the products there for that. I use that religiously, instead of taking all those opioids and other crazy stuff that can screw up your intestinal system and whatever. And then Ghost sleeves for my bad knee. It has kinesio tape built into it. I actually wear it on my good knee as well when I play pickleball or do anything of serious activity. It's amazing. They got for your knees and your calf and helps with the Achilles, elbows, all kinds of cool stuff that they're doing. Ghostsleeves.com, same code RB24 to get a nice discount on that as well. So yeah, I just have a lot of cool things that I'm involved in that I'm grateful for, and working on some more. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully, I got a few other things that may come to fruition. And my AI thing, I'm really excited about. I mean, just think about it. I was actually speaking with Albert Einstein. I mean, this was Albert Einstein. This is his voice, his there, and having a conversation with Albert Einstein, asking him questions, getting answers. It was mind numbing to me.
Wow.
And I'm working on doing some cool stuff with that. And they have some amazing stuff for. I also am a part owner. I'm a part owner in a thing called Stuffed Tots, a patented potato product that's going into a lot of schools are using them now in their cafeterias, trying to get it into the cruise industry. We have a lot of fast food stores are taking a look at it. Just an amazing product. If you like potatoes, wow, this is awesome. Eggland eggs, we're doing a deal with them. We're going to be coming out with some products for them as well. And so that's another really cool one. It's not in the retail market right now. We're not messing around with the retail market, but yeah, so a lot of cool stuff. And I'll continue to keep myself busy coming out with something where it's an alcoholic product with ginseng in it that's being really well received also. product in the water world as well that has oxygen in the water. I mean, there's just so many things. I can go on for an hour talking about the things I'm involved in, and it's exciting because I love marketing. That's what I majored in, and I like being a part of it. You know, the Titan Pickleball. You go to Titan Pickleball, go to RBTP 24, RBTP 24. You can get a discount on all of the Titan Pickleball products and stuff that they have as well. So that's a cool thing too. So yeah,
Cool.
that's about the tip of the iceberg with
Yeah.
all the crazy stuff I've been doing.
Well, that's fantastic. And we'll post all those that socials and links and everything in the description below so you can go find out more about the stuff that Rick just talked about. Rick, I want to say thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Really appreciate it. I'd like to just let you wrap things up here and give us some final thoughts.
Well, my big thing is that we're in a crazy world that we live in now. I just can't even believe the things that are going on. I'm not even going to get into politics because that's not something that you need to talk about. In fact, you should keep politics out of your life because, I mean, I've had friends that, lost their relationships because of it, and people get into arguments about it. I mean, you can't even have a decent conversation anymore. The big thing is that just be a good person, treat people like you like to be treated, as long as you're not somebody that has some serious issues and you're a sadist or something of that nature. Just treat people like you like to be treated. Thank God for the blessings that you have, because as bad as you may think you have it, there are billions of people around the world that don't have anything close to what you have and the potential that you have to do things in this amazing country of ours. And so I wish everybody good health. Have a Merry Christmas. Whatever holiday you're going to be celebrating, I hope you enjoy that with your family and your friends. And that's the most important thing, is family and friends. So enjoy them and appreciate them for what they are, and appreciate life. And you will do that as you get older. If the younger people are out there, you think you're going to live forever. Well, that's not always going to be the case. So take care of yourself and enjoy life as much as possible and do something nice for someone else.
Well, there you go, folks. Rick Barry. He is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Remember, keep moving, set your own goals, and train hard to achieve them. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.